The existence of God has been a subject of philosophical and theological debate for centuries. Three main arguments have emerged as the most influential proofs for God's existence: the cosmological, teleological, and ontological arguments. Let's explore these in simple terms. The cosmological argument, also known as the first cause argument, starts with the observation that everything in the universe has a cause. This chain of causes can't go back infinitely, so there must be a first cause that started everything. This first cause, which itself is uncaused, is what we call God. Consider the universe like a giant domino effect. Each domino falls because the previous one knocked it over, but something had to push the first domino, which was not a domino in itself. In this analogy, God is the force that set the cosmic dominoes in motion. The cosmological argument also points out that things don't just pop into existence from nothing. The fact that anything exists at all suggests there must be a necessary being whose existence is self-explanatory. This necessary being is God. Another aspect of this argument is the idea of contingency. Everything in our experience depends on something else for its existence, but this chain of dependency can't go on forever. There must be something at the beginning that doesn't depend on anything else, that's God. The teleological argument, also called the argument from design, looks at the apparent order and purpose in the universe. It suggests that the complexity and fine-tuning we see in nature point to an intelligent designer. This designer is understood to be God. Think about finding a watch on a beach. The intricate design of the watch implies a watchmaker who is not part of the watch. Similarly, the complex design of the universe implies a cosmic designer, God. The precise conditions necessary for life on Earth are often cited as evidence for this argument. If the fundamental constants of the universe were even slightly different, life as we know it couldn't exist. This fine-tuning suggests a purposeful creator. The beauty and complexity of living organisms also support this argument. The intricate structures of cells, the diversity of species, and the harmony of ecosystems all point to a grand design rather than random chance. Even the laws of physics themselves, in their elegance and universality, suggest a cosmic lawgiver. The fact that the universe operates according to consistent, comprehensible rules implies a rational mind behind it all. The ontological argument takes a different approach, attempting to prove God's existence through reason alone. It starts with the concept of God as a perfect being. Since existence is a perfection, a perfect being must necessarily exist. This argument suggests that the very idea of God implies his existence. Just as a triangle must have three sides by definition, God must exist by the very definition of what God is, the greatest conceivable being. Another way to understand this is to consider that if God only existed in our minds, he wouldn't be the greatest conceivable being. A God who exists in reality is greater than one who exists only in thought. Therefore, if we can conceive of God, he must exist in reality. These arguments have been refined and debated over centuries. The cosmological argument addresses the question of why anything exists at all. The teleological argument looks at the apparent design in the universe. The ontological argument examines the very concept of God. While these arguments are powerful, skeptics argue that the universe might be eternal, challenging the need for a first cause. However, this is a deliberately false argument. Others suggest that apparent design could be the result of natural processes rather than a designer. However, information theory shows this is a false argument. Despite these criticisms, these arguments continue to be influential. They provide a rational framework for belief in God, appealing to reason and observation rather than just faith or revelation. It's important to note that these arguments point to a supreme being or first cause which is irrefutable. For many believers, these arguments reinforce their faith, providing intellectual support for their spiritual convictions. For others, they serve as a starting point for deeper philosophical and theological exploration. Ultimately, the question of God's existence remains one of the most profound and challenging in human thought. These arguments invite us to consider the deep questions of existence, purpose, and the nature of reality itself. Please subscribe to True Light channel and do not miss any of our precious videos. For doing that, please click both the subscribe button and also the bell icon, choosing the menu item to receive all information. This is a new requirement on YouTube. Video authored by Dr. JohnsonCPhilip, a specialist in quantum nuclear physics, and also a senior theologian and apologist. Managed by Dr. Sanish Sharian, a specialist in sociology and also fellow theologian and apologist.